It's Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance at the California Republican Party Convention in the Bay Area. We're joined today by Nathan Miller. He is the Vice President of the Riverside Community College District. He is the immediate past President of the California Young Republicans and a delegate here at the convention.
It's three,
which is going well so far?
It's going fantastic. You know, it's the first time we've been relevant in a primary in my lifetime. I don't know how long it's been since people have actually cared about what California has to say when we get to this point, but now they do. It's a good thing.
What does that mean for the California Republican Party that come June 7th, our votes matter?
It means a lot. If you take this convention, for example, up until the beginning of April, I believe Carly Fiorina was the only confirmed speaker. Right. She was speaking in the Saturday night dinner.
Right.
And once all of a sudden people realize, oh, California's going to count, and there's really only one candidate right now that could possibly clinch the nomination. California is going to determine that. So in a week's time, we locked up Kasich, we locked up Cruz, and we locked up Donald Trump. So, I mean, that says a lot.
Let's talk about Donald Trump. As I came in today, I came from the airport.
Did you notice some protesters?
Yeah, so that's what happened. So we couldn't even drive up to the hotel entrance. We had to be dropped off. I took my bag. I had to roll it up. I had to get through the protesters who were...
See, that's why I got here at 5 in the morning.
You were smart.
Right.
The protesters were clearly angry and agitated. And
well, there's something to be said about... There's clearly an organic, agitated, angry mob. A part of it's just, you know, in my opinion, I think a lot of them have been indoctrinated. There's a victim mentality out there. And I know that there's a lot to be made of the rhetoric that Donald Trump spews. And, you know, there's, on the one side, you've got folks saying, look, he's just saying what a lot of Americans think, and he's saying it in layman's terms. And what he's commanded is this huge anti-PC vote.
But here's the challenge. I think about 2012,
right,
when Barack Obama was running against Mitt Romney, or 2008, when Barack Obama was running against John McCain.
Right. They were both light candidates.
Yeah, but they were, you know, their favorables were fine, their unfavorables were fine.
Not enough to get elected. Mitt Romney was the last person standing. If you think about it, at one point in time, every other candidate during that election cycle in the Republican Party was favored to win, and Mitt Romney was the last person.
But when you looked at his favorable, unfavorable numbers...
Not that I have anything wrong with... there's anything wrong with it.
They were fine.
Yeah.
They were fine. Donald Trump...
There was no contrast.
Look,
there's two schools of thought with Donald Trump, right? There's the one school of thought that thinks Donald Trump, our nominee, we get decimated as a party nationwide. I personally think that Donald Trump as the nominee has some serious potential negative implications in California, just given the makeup of the electorate here. Huge Latino population, I understand that. Not necessarily throughout the rest of the United States. It's state by state.
Because I think...
Well, the other thing, there's this other side with Donald Trump. Is this idea that he's been getting people out to vote that never vote, right? So you do a polls based on likely voters. These are the people we know are going to show up. The people that you don't know are going to show up, they're not included. So there's this poll that says this is how much you're going to win by, and Donald Trump's been winning by that much because all these 0 out of the last 5 elections, 1 voter out of they're all showing up to vote, and there's no way you can mathematically determine what that's going to be.
Let's talk about some states that many folks believe could be thrown into play in a Clinton-Trump race.
New York?
Pennsylvania. Well, I was thinking Pennsylvania, Ohio, with white working class Democrats.
That is
we'll call them Reagan Democrats. Right. Are they now Trump Democrats? Or let's say Georgia, where you have increasing minority populations. Do we now see Hillary Clinton put Georgia into play when normally it would never be put into play?
The bigger concern for me out of that is this idea that this election cycle is coming down to these race-based factors. You know, I think everybody hoped that with the Barack Obama presidency, that would mean there would be a healing of this racial tension and this racial divide. How can you say that the United States is inherently or has institutional racism if we elect a black president? And now it seems like the racial divide is bigger than ever. This guy that we elected to heal the nation, to bring people together, has done nothing but bring them further apart, whether you like him or not. You can't argue that.
With the Trump candidacy is for better or for worse, the perception is he has played into the racial divide.
Oh, absolutely he has. I believe
Latinos, calling Mexicans drug dealers and rapists.
The question you got to ask yourself, does that exist with or without Trump? And I think it does. So has Trump used that to propel himself and get past the primary? You can't say no. He absolutely has. Yeah, that is. I mean, that's exactly what I was saying before. The fact that exists, Trump has figured out a way to utilize that to propel himself into the Republican nomination. And this divide that has been ever increasing, what does that mean for the future of our nation? Whether it's Clinton that wins or Trump wins, I don't see things getting any better post-November.
The future of the Republican Party, because I'm sure you saw the Houston.
The future of the Republican Party is a different discussion. It's separate from Trump,
right? I want to talk about the future.
It exists, right? The Republican Party exists as a bloc to uncheck power and complete power by the Democrats, because people don't like a completely dominant party.
But what do you do, sir, when you have a Pew survey that comes out which says the Republican Party favorability is at 33%, unfavorable at 62%?
How can you expect a party to have a favorability rating if they don't have an articulated, tangible vision? And if you ask anybody here at the convention, what does the Republican Party stand for, you're going to get 12 different answers.
But if
you have no leader at the top that's defining that.
In 2012, I feel as if I could have articulated that vision that Mitt Romney was articulating.
Well, he was articulating a moderate version of the Republican Party that's more tolerant of issues that have been divisive first in the past, but nobody was in agreement on that. There is a segment of the party that's more moderate. I would say, if you ask me what the future of the Republican Party is, inevitably I see the party going more libertarian. Yeah. I see a potential to attract business Democrats that are tired of getting rolled by labor.
And young Democrats.
Young Democrats.
I mean, who are libertarian.
That Ron Paul, almost Bernie Sanders, where they kind of meet together. There's a huge potential. So the party's divorced itself more or less. When you had the establishment going after viable candidates in the Republican Party, that's created a huge maelstrom of chaos where we're searching for an identity. What does it stand for? What comes out of that? A phoenix will rise out of the ashes. I can't tell you what that's going to be.
Got to ask you about Bernie Sanders, because in some ways Bernie Sanders is the flip of Donald Trump, or actually not even the flip. I mean, a lot of the similar positions.
What does make Bernie Sanders acceptable and viable? It's the most important quality I've always said that matters in a candidate is sincerity. Do people believe what you're saying? Do they believe that you're telling them the truth? Because it's counterintuitive, but you can tell people things that they absolutely disagree with, that they do not like at all. But if they believe that what you're telling them is how they truly believe, then they're like, this guy isn't going to lie to me, right? Maybe he says some things I don't like. I may not support that specifically, but I want somebody that I know when they say A, B, and C, they mean A, B, and C. When they say yes, they mean yes.
Donald Trump falls into that categorization?
I think he does. I think people believe that, well, I think that they value his lack of fear in saying how he feels, whatever comes to the top of his mind. And we understand that clearly we've seen kind of a shifting target with Trump, but he's not afraid to say how he feels in the moment.
I forgot, you met Trump today.
Yes, I did.
And we have a picture of it. What was it like?
It was very brief because.
But still.
As you know, there were a few protesters outside. It made it kind of difficult for him to get across. I think they had him hopping over rails to get through the back door.
You got a picture with him.
It was very brief, but I'll tell you, I met Trump, I've met Cruz. Both individuals were very sincere when I got to shake their hands. Cruz I see as somebody that tends to be contrived, but person to person, and same thing with Trump.
He is Nathan Miller. I'm Brad Pomerance, California Republican Party Convention, Charter Local Edition.